Chapter 8, Last Chance. The cold, dimly lit room echoes with the sound of boots as General Ralph Berg strides in, his uniform immaculate and his expression unreadable. Sitting behind the reinforced glass wall are Colonel Zeke and Major Amma, both looking worn but defiant.
"Well, well, well,"
the general said with a smirk.
"I thought I would pay you two a personal visit. You know how much I esteem you two. I really am trying to be a friend here, but you keep playing stupid games and winning stupid prizes. So, as two comrades that I considered friends, I am going to give you two one last chance to reconsider my offer."
General Berg paced slowly, savoring the moment.
$150 million each, promotions to the rank of general for both of you, and this time, a seat at the Old World Order's table within 1 year. This is absolutely a one-time opportunity. Decline again, and, well, the consequences will be far worse than this cozy little cell.
Colonel Zeke and Major Amma exchanged a glance before turning their unflinching gazes back to the general. Colonel Zeke answered back coldly,
"Not interested."
"Not now, not ever,"
Major Amma added with steel in her voice. Colonel Zeke then leaned forward toward General Berg.
"And if I get out of here, and believe me, I will make damn sure you pay a heavy price for every one of your betrayals."
Major Amma nodded in agreement. She then said her piece to the general.
"And what do you think will happen when the American people find out that you're a traitor? They will demand your neck in a noose."
General Berg threw his head back and laughed a deep, mocking laugh that filled the entire room. He then grinned and said,
"You think the tax cattle, the American people, will wise up to realize the invisible chains that bind them? Please, they're too busy stuffing their fat and ugly faces with fast food and screaming at their sports programs to even care."
"You underestimate them,"
Major Amma answered with disgust.
"Do I?"
The general spat back in a mocking tone.
"The majority of the so-called citizens are so dumb, they'll even fight to defend the very system that despises and enslaves them."
Colonel Zeke slammed his fist on the table, his voice rising with anger.
"The American people are smarter than you think, Berg,"
the colonel shouted.
"And did you forget that the American people are armed? When they've had enough of being fleeced, they'll come for blood."
General Berg chuckled again and shook his head.
"And what are they going to do?"
the general asked dryly.
"Storm the Capitol with handguns and hunting rifles? The U.S. government has Predator drones, tanks, and nuclear missiles."
The general leaned towards the former officers.
"You really think that your precious tax cattle stand any chance against that?"
Colonel Zeke glared at the general, knowing deep down the truth of his words. The general straightened up, the amusement leaving his face.
"Now, for the last time,"
Berg said with a serious tone.
"do you accept my offer?"
Colonel Zeke and Major Amma remained silent, refusing to dignify the question with an answer. Berg shrugged his shoulders.
"Have it your way,"
he said. He then stepped closer to the two former officers, dropping his voice to a dangerous tone.
"Here is how this will play out. The chairman of the Old World Order gave me an ultimatum. Get you two to play ball, or I lose my seat at the table and my life. But if you think that I will sacrifice that for the likes of you two and the precious American tax cattle, then you're even dumber than I thought. So, get comfortable. You're going to rot in this chamber for the rest of your miserable existence.
In a sudden burst of violence, General Berg punched Colonel Zeke in his stomach, causing him to double over in pain. Major Amma rushed to the colonel's side as the general began to storm out. However, he stopped, slowly turned back around, and walked towards the two former officers.
"Oh, there is one more thing,"
General Berg said with a cold and evil smile.
"The old world order have decided to execute Operation Second Coming."
Both former officers' eyes widened. They knew exactly what Operation Second Coming was. They also knew that the secret order of Moses was behind it.
You're a monster.
Major Amma yelled.
You are going to send young men to die for those monsters in order to put the Davidic Messiah on the throne as the world ruler?
You're going to manipulate Christians, Muslims, and Jews to worship this Messiah,
Colonel Zeke added while he was still doubled over in pain, catching his breath.
"Don't forget that we will eliminate without mercy those who don't bow down."
General Berg replied.
"Too bad you two will be down here, wasting away when it all goes down. You will be completely helpless to stop it."
General Berg laughed as he walked away, leaving the two former officers to their thoughts.
Zeke,
Amma says,
we have to do something. If Operation Second Coming happens, millions of people will die.
Colonel Zeke struggled to his feet, wincing but resolute. He gritted his teeth.
We find a way out. If we can disable the guard rotation or trigger an emergency, we might have a chance.
And once we're out?
Major Amma asked.
We expose Berg.
Colonel Zeke answered.
Then we take the fight to them.
The two began to whisper their plan, mapping out a route and memorizing guard patterns. Hours later, they were ready to execute their plan.
Guard.
Major Amma called out.
I think I'm starting to get cramps. It's my time of the month.
The guard makes his way toward Major Amma, unlocked the glass door, and pulled the former major out of the cell. Major Amma then dealt a strong elbow to the guard's groin, incapacitating him. This gave Zeke the opportunity to overpower the second guard, knock him out with a punch to his face, and steal his keycard. They sneak through the facility, but their luck runs out. A siren blared, guards flooded the halls, and Colonel Zeke and Major Amma are cornered.
On your knees, hands behind your head,
one of the guards shouted. Colonel Zeke looked at Major Amma with guilt and determination in his eyes. The colonel whispered to the major.
I'll create a diversion. You run.
No.
Major Amma whispered back angrily.
I'm not leaving without you.
That's an order, Major.
Colonel Zeke firmly snaps back. Before she could protest any further, Zeke charged at the guards, giving Amma a window to escape. She hesitated slightly, but finally ran down a side corridor. The guards subdued Colonel Zeke, dragging him back into the detainment area. Major Amma, now separated and hiding in an air duct, tears streaming down her face as she whispers to herself,
I'll come back for you, Zeke. I promise.
Meanwhile, General Berg watches Colonel Zeke being thrown back into solitary confinement with a smug smile.
"Let's see how long you last now,"
The general said to himself.